Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Wednesday, or as we call it, Hump Day. Who did I miss? I've been in here since about, 6 o'clock this morning. Hello, Mayor. Hello, Diana. Nubian made it in. Britt Sadie's here. Tree Baby's here. Soulshine, good morning. Angie Gibson's coming in. Izzy's in the hizzy. She's in the hood. Bonnie, good morning. Shep is in. True Crime Beat made it in. Kaleidohope, Twisted Crime Beat. The gang is all piling in. So glad you're here. So glad you're hanging around. If you missed me yesterday, it wasn't because I was hiding. We had a members live yesterday. We had some true crime gossip to go through. We celebrated the July babies' birthdays, including DT drivers, my husband. Slim won trivia. Let's please have a round of applause for Slim's big win. As Alex Trebek used to say, we had a barn burner on our hands. It was getting heated in there, my friends. Just Me said she's competitive. And I'll tell you what, it would have been extra AF, no pun intended, if extra AF didn't have to leave. Because she throws down on trivia. I'm telling you, she throws it down. Sometimes I wonder, can she Google that fast? Because she's damn good. I love when she does it. Rexy says, I don't know, I may be a poor loser, LOL, aren't we all? Gamer said, hey, my homies. Hi, my homies. Speaking of my homies, football's right around the corner, and you know I am a Chiefs fan. Good morning, Crime Story Diva. So that was a lot of fun. If you missed the members live, go check it out. It's always a hoot. Pat yourself on the back, Slim, because you brought it. You ruled Thunderdome yesterday. Let's take a minute to welcome everybody to the show, and then we're going to get to some nasty conversation. I can't say trigger enough, because what Krusty has done, and yes, that is his new name around here. I will not refer to him by his government name anymore, because I don't want to offend anybody with the same name. You know, like Adam Montgomery is Teardrop. Kayla is Stepmeth. Brian is Bushy. Everybody gets a name. Candace is Can't. Rex is Krusty. Let's welcome the person on top of you and under you, and I don't mean in a sexual position. No threesomes around here.
Oh, guess what day it is? Guess what day it is? Huh? Anybody? Julie, hey, guess what day it is? Oh, come on, I know you can hear me. Mike. What day is it, Mike? Leslie, guess what today is?
It's hump day.
Woo-hoo!
That never gets old. I understand I'm very goofy. Christina says we need a better name than Krusty. For today, it's going to be Krusty until you guys vote on another one that I can remember, if you know what I mean. That I can remember. Erica said she lost her membership. Well, you never know. You never know when somebody's going to gift a membership and how YouTube is going to sort them out. I've had some emails from people saying, how do I get a gifted membership? Hell if I know. YouTube doesn't exactly keep me in the loop. Let's get to some comments. Dina said ogre. He was called an ogre. Let's get to the comments and we will figure out what to call this piece of crap. Crime Time said, this is the most intense thing ever. Like, what's next? For real. The minute you hit refresh or you go to anything, any news site, the Today Show, YouTube, you name it. Something new is going on in Krusty the Ogre's world. Something knew all the time. Now we're waiting on, and I can't wait. Oh, thank you, Diana. Diana is gifting memberships. Look at it. Watch it rain. Watch it rain. Thank you, Diana. You are a doll. Thank you. I am waiting for a judge, and they might have already done it. Hell, I don't know. This is moving so fast. To start signing search warrants in Vegas and especially South Carolina. I believe there's some nasty stuff that went down in South Carolina. Treed Squirrel said, dude, just give them all the info and all the details now. Don't make this a long, drug out process. Exactly. Haven't you done enough? Your wife and children were blindsided. Talk about a double life. And we've seen it before. We've seen it before, my friends. BTK, Dahmer, Bundy, Gacy, the list goes on and on. These people are good. Not in a good way, though. Just Me, and not the Just Me that's a moderator, said, I lived in Long Island, not far from the beach, from Gilgo and Robert Moses Beach. Gilgo is near Oak Beach, where the old OBI, a bar I used to go to dance. Gilgo is such a small stretch of beach, a lot of people used to go there when it was safe. This dude is creepy, and if all is true, he is a serial killer. Wonder what his wife knew or didn't know. Well, we know that she was in Iceland, Maryland, and Jersey for 3 of the murders. We do know that. Now, he is a prime suspect in Maureen's murder, but hasn't been charged yet. That could change in the next 30 seconds. You never know with this case. And there is a lot of talk, just like in the Delphi case. How did she not know? Well, he joins a long list of men that are serial killers, and their loved ones had no idea. Time to Roll said, hey, Brooks, did you know there is now sex dolls and weapons found, and he had a secret room? Yeah, I heard that. He's beyond creepy. He's beyond creepy. Beyond. All right, on Monday in Discord, we did a Discord live and we went through the 48 hours show from years ago. And it brought out a lot of information that we're not hearing right now with the case going on. Part of the information really blew my mind. It sheds a lot of light on the, how to say it, political problems over the years in Suffolk County. The chief of police that was truly working this case was forced to retire, and he was replaced with a new chief of police that had been caught with a sex worker in his cruiser. Now, she wasn't in there because she'd been arrested. He had solicited her. He still rose up through the ranks. Talk about a conflict of interest. Both him and the district attorney got into deep trouble. Deep trouble. Let's look at this.
For the former chief of department for the Suffolk County Police, the highly decorated veteran officer admitted to roughing up a suspect and covering it up. CBS 2's Carolyn Gussoff has the new information from federal courts on Long Island.
He acknowledges his lack of judgment and his failure in leadership.
Suffolk County's former top uniformed cop pleading guilty. Former Chief James Burke admitting in a strong voice in federal court he, quote, willfully used unreasonable force and slapped and hit a suspect.
The suspect was not only slapped and hit, which, to be quite honest, I don't have a problem with. Some of these people need to be whipped into shape because they do terrible things. This dude was chained to the floor, my friends. Henrietta, Oklahoma style, if you know what I mean. Chained to the floor. This guy did a lot of nasty stuff when he became chief of police. And I think it's part of the reason for the slowdown in the investigation into the murders. That's just my opinion.
Then conspired to cover it up.
He realized the mistake he's made, and he's owned up to it, and he wants to get it past him, and he wants the Suffolk County Police Department to get past it as well so they can go back and do the good work they do.
It's outrageous and it's sad.
Vindication, says the attorney for Christopher Loeb.
The days of the corruption, the cover-ups, the abuse of power in Suffolk are over.
Burke now admits he beat Loeb, a burglary suspect who stole a duffel from Burke's SUV. The duffel contained the chief's gun belt, but also claimed Loeb, porn, and sex toys.
Every time I asked for a lawyer, I got hit again. I got hit again. I got choked. I got punched. I got slapped. I got kicked.
Chained and defenseless, his civil rights violated. The cover-up, 11 cops asked to lie to a grand jury. Under the plea deal, Burke will serve up to 51 months, a fraction of the 30 years he faced.
51 months. I think he wound up getting 46, if I remember correctly, in a federal prison that I'm telling you looks like a damn country club. On top of that, he didn't lose his pension, my friends. Meanwhile, we've got dead bodies on the beach.
His crashing fall from grace has countywide implications. Legislator Robert Trotta calling for resignations of the county executive and DA.
They're responsible for putting him in this position. It was common knowledge that that type of activity was going on. And this is going to cost the taxpayers a lot of money in lawsuits.
Hinting another shoe may drop, the U.S. attorney said the investigation's ongoing. Burke is not, his attorneys say, cooperating with federal officials to bring down anyone else. In Hauppauge, Long Island, Carolyn Gussoff, CBS 2 News.
So that's the chief of police. That's the chief of police. Snazzy, thank you for the super sticker that said FBI currently interviewing neighbors at the South Carolina properties. I think that search warrant will be quick. Fingers crossed. Prayers up. Woo! Now we get to the DA. The DA that was behind the chief of police that was working this case and wanted the chief of police that had been caught with the sex worker in the cruiser, even left his weapon unattended, also was indicted. Now, all of this is going on when they should be investigating a serial killer. This is crazy, guys.
Suffolk County today. District Attorney Thomas Spoda indicted, charged in a corruption case involving a police chief who's now in prison. CBS 2's Jennifer McLogan live with this story for us in Central Islip tonight. Jennifer.
Dana, good evening. 76-year-old Thomas Spoda, who is the longest-serving district attorney in Suffolk County history, announced in May that he would not be seeking a fifth term in November. And tonight, we may know why. In a stunning fall from grace, Democrat Thomas Spoda, who was elected 16 years ago as a corruption fighter, was indicted on federal charges a short time ago. Charged in an alleged cover-up of an assault at the hands of Spoda protege, former Suffolk Police Chief James Burke, now a convicted
protege. He covered up all his dirty deeds. This is the tip of the iceberg with these two. Now, some people say, well, this is just spilt milk. No sense in talking about sour grapes. It's been dealt with. That's really not the point.
felon. The DA faces 3 counts: conspiracy to tamper with witnesses, obstructing an official proceeding, and obstruction of justice.
Tom Spoda committed no crime. In fact, for many years of a very long and distinguished career, Tom has worked hard to investigate and prosecute crime and deliver justice to the residents of Suffolk County. Tom categorically denies the government's charges, and he looks forward to vindicating himself in court.
The feds say Spota protected James Burke, now serving a 46-month federal sentence for violating the 2012 civil rights of Christopher Loeb, who stole the chief's duffel bag containing a gun belt, handcuffs, sex toys, and pornography. Burke pleaded guilty to assaulting Loeb and orchestrating a cover-up of the attack.
Every time I asked for a lawyer, I got hit again, I got hit again, I got choked, I got punched, I got slapped, I got kicked.
Spota looked weary and pale before the judge, pleaded not guilty, put up his home as collateral for the $500,000 bond, surrendered his passport. The timing of the arrest, so near the election, is making waves. Suffolk's police commissioner hopes to succeed Spota.
I was asked to become police commissioner to clean up Burke's mess. I'm now going to become district attorney and clean up Spota's mess.
Are you going to clean house when you come in?
Obviously, a lot of movement, a lot of changes are going to occur.
Welcome to the cesspool I call Suffolk County. When we have this going on in our county, it's an embarrassment. And
Welcome to the cesspool I call Suffolk County. And this is an elected official. He's been after these bastards for a long time, and this is with a serial killer investigation going on. Possibly two, because the FBI says that the toddler and the Asian male don't fit his MO.
Believe me, this is the tip of the iceberg.
Calls to resign went unanswered. Spota's chief aide, ironically head of his political corruptions unit, was also indicted today. Investigations continue. We're live, Central Islip Federal Courthouse. Jennifer McLogan, CBS 2 News.
Woo! Woo! And good for that guy. This is the tip of the iceberg. Tip of the iceberg. My goodness. Well, we know what's in that glacier. Krusty the Ogre. I don't know about you ladies, but if I had that on my phone, there wouldn't be enough dollars in the world. No way. He creeps me the hell out. There's a lot going on, my friends. There is a lot. It can't get any more disturbing. Amber did not deserve what was done to her. Melissa did not deserve what was done to her. Megan did not deserve what was done to her. And Maureen, he's a prime suspect in her murder, did not deserve what was done to her. I quit looking at comments. I don't mean you guys' comments. I mean in news articles. I saw a chat the other day and I thought, it might be something worth looking at. And all they were doing was talking about the women, and they should have been smarter than that. Well, no, I'm assuming, I've never done it. Okay, I don't think anybody would pay for my ass. I would assume that the sex work industry is very dangerous, and the dudes that pay for it, they're not looking for their soulmate. Okay, they don't have a glass slipper. The victim blaming, I can't do. It's disgusting. They were brutally murdered. Now, this has been floating around. I want you guys to go through it with me. This was put out a couple of years ago on CBS New York City. New video related to the beach murders was released by the police. So after the corruption was dealt with, the train got back on the track and it was going full steam ahead. They were cooperating with the FBI, and well, here we are. They found their dude. I have a feeling that we're not just dealing with 4 victims, as if that's not bad enough. As if that's not bad enough. Look at this video. If I need to slow it down, replay it, tell me if this looks like Krusty the Ogre.
A new quest for answers tonight in the unsolved Gilgo Beach serial murders. It's been 12 years since the first human remains were found along a Long Island stretch of beach. Today, for the first time, video released by police is of one of the victims before she was killed. CBS 2's Carolyn Gussoff reports law enforcement is also upping the reward to solve these crimes.
we are making real progress.
Suffolk's new police commissioner bringing transparency and he hopes new leads in a notorious crime spree that stumped police for a dozen years, releasing video never seen by the public of the.
Okay, so this is Megan Waterman, and she's at the Holiday Inn Express. Okay, so I guess there she is. This is eerie to me.
Lobby of the Holiday Inn Express in Hauppauge on June 4th and 6th, 2010, seen in a yellow top of Megan Waterman in her final hours.
We believe she did leave the hotel that night to meet her killer. We hope that anyone who may have been in the area that night or may have seen any of the individuals depicted in these videos will reach out to our Crime Stoppers hotline.
Police say they hope.
Okay, so the guy walking through right here, a lot of people are saying that's him. He looks a little too I don't know, fit, wrong hair. Some people say it looks just like him.
Will reach out to our Crime Stoppers hotline.
Police say they hope to jog memories and they're doubling the reward for information to $50,000. Waterman was one of 6 sex workers killed, found along with the remains of 5 other people. Videos appear on a revamped GilgoNews.com website, a renewed effort by a task force that includes talking to sex trafficking victims in jail.
Gain their trust. And ultimately get them to tell us who is responsible for, in their opinion, these heinous crimes.
The bodies all found due to the search for missing woman Shannon Gilbert, her sister not overly hopeful.
You're releasing things that you could have released from the very beginning. It really doesn't make sense that they're releasing these bits and pieces of evidence, but none of it to me is really helpful.
I think that more should be coming right away.
Attorney John Ray has been pressing police to publicly release much more, including Gilbert's 911 call, which he has heard.
This is the first step, but it's a very small baby step towards what should be done, which is to bring the public into this case. It's the only way this will be solved.
Commissioner Harrison says he is still evaluating whether releasing the 911 tape would help or hinder the investigation. Shannon's sister and attorney say it's more than a decade overdue. In Oak Beach, Long Island, Carolyn Gussoff, CBS 2 News.
Another tragedy in Shannon's family. One of her sisters murdered her mom. Her sister had been in and out of mental institutions for schizophrenia and murdered her mom. What else can happen to that family? You've got to be kidding me. I might put together an entire show about Shannon because I have a hard time believing that she's not connected. She fits his profile. Not his profile, but women that he was picking up. All right, the DA spoke on the news yesterday morning while we were doing the members live. He had a lot to say. First, let's look at this map. We have Megan Waterman. You know where they were found. Megan Waterman, 12/13/2010 is when she was found. Maureen, 12/13/2010. Amber, found the same day. Amber Costello, 12/13/2010. Melissa was found 2 days before, 12/11/2010. Valerie Mack was found 4/4 of 2011. Fits his type, okay? It took them a long time to identify Valerie because she was never reported missing. It took a long time to find out who she was. Shannon Gilbert was found a year to the date of Amber, Maureen, and Megan. Then, of course, we have Jane Doe number 3, 4/11/2011. Fire Island Jane Doe, 4/11/2011. The Asian male, I wish they would find out who he is, and Toddler Doe. This is horrific. I mean, horrific. The DA gave a very, very good interview the other day and shed a lot of light. The new DA, not the one that went down for corruption, the new one. And he gave a very telling interview. Let's go through this.
It's flooding out about the Gilgo Beach murders after police arrested Rex Heuermann last week.
Police say the suspect searched for information about the Gilgo Beach investigation over 200 times on the internet.
Heuermann pleaded not guilty for the murders of Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello.
Okay. Nobody's shocked that he would plead not guilty. I am shocked he doesn't have a private attorney. I can't believe a dude like Krusty the Ogre would not want private defense. He's right now, as of right now, he's with the public defender's office. I have a feeling his wife isn't going to want to part with any funds. Have a feeling she's probably in the process of going through the big D, and I don't mean Dallas. 200 times he searched his crime that he's suspected of.
Here now is Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney, who actually led the task force that broke this more than a decade old case. So, Ray, what was it that broke this case open that you were able to get to this defendant?
I think there was a combination of a lot of things. I think that you had cell phone evidence, which placed the defendant in a particular area, and then both in Massapequa Park on Long Island and then in Manhattan. And then in addition to that, you had this area, this Chevy Avalanche truck where the last victim, Amber Costello, the person who last was with Amber Costello was driving a vehicle of that type, and he had a very specific physical description. In March 14th of 2022, we identified the defendant Rex Heuermann as an individual who owned that truck. He matches that unique physical description, and he lived in Massapequa Park and worked in Midtown Manhattan in the area where these phone calls occurred.
Rex Heuermann has not been charged. We mentioned the 3 women he's been charged with murdering. He has not yet been charged with the killing of Maureen Brainerd Barnes. She is one of the Gilgo 4. And there's 6 other bodies that were also found, a female toddler, a man, and then 4 other women. But Maureen Brainerd Barnes, do you expect he will be charged with her murder as well?
So we began, I came into office January of 2022. We formed the task force February of 2022. Heuermann was identified as a suspect in the case for the first time 6 weeks later. We started working immediately. We went through the grand jury process. We completed the investigation as to 3. We decided to take down the case and arrest the defendant. That grand jury investigation continues, and we should have a result shortly.
So it's interesting.
I would love to know when the next grand jury is. I would love to know when there's going to be a grand jury in South Carolina. I can't say too much about Vegas. He's got ties to Vegas, but I'm not clear on that one. I believe there's a big connection in South Carolina. And I think all of this was going on before 2010. What do you guys think?
Listen, you knew that he was searching about this case and was trying to see how far along in your investigation you actually were, which sped up the timeline in which you arrested him. Number one. But number two, you had DNA evidence in this case. And I know jurors, they watch crime files and they always want DNA evidence. Tell us about the DNA evidence that you have.
So the victims, they died, they were murdered between July of 2007 and September of 2010. Their bodies weren't recovered until December of 2010. And they were left in a very rugged area by the access to salt water, wind, rain, snow. So there was not much forensic evidence at the crime scene, other than these hairs, and we use mitochondrial DNA to establish DNA profiles from that. Those DNA profiles later matched not only the defendant, but 2 hairs matched the DNA profile of his wife.
And to the police officers who initially recovered these women, the victims, to preserve that DNA under those conditions, and the police department and the district attorney in Suffolk County to preserve it and handle it so carefully all of these years to now you have the suspect in custody, charged, and you have that to make a case. It's really astounding. And I saw Rodney Harrison, the police chief of Suffolk County, who comes from NYPD. I want to thank you for just treating the victims and their families with such grace and honor and dignity. And I think that this is a day, maybe everything changes and people in law enforcement from the top, from federal down, remember it's about fighting crime.
Well,
for the victims.
thank you. And the victims are, they're extraordinary people. They've endured so much, and to give them this small measure of closure is why we do what we do. It's just the beginning. It's not the end. We still have a lot of work to do. These are allegations, but we look forward to proving them in court.
Good things happen when we have prosecutors that do their job. We need more like you, Ray.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks for joining.
Yes, we do, because nothing makes me more mad in these cases than a ill-equipped district attorney. We talk about that in the Summer Wells case. You can't determine if she wandered off or there's foul play. FBI card unit already said she wasn't abducted. You have 3 boys that have been taken by the state. You can't even wrangle up a charge on that. So I hate it when we have lazy judges, like in the Harmony Montgomery case, or lazy DAs. Now, I could be wrong about this guy, but he seems like a very stand-up guy. Jules has breaking news for us. Is everybody ready for this? Because I am. Breaking news from Jules, who is also a South Carolina native, said they are in South Carolina now. They have removed a truck from the property, and it has been taken to Suffolk County. What on earth is going on? Thank you, Jules. Snazzy said they took a truck on Thursday. Well, today's Wednesday. So they took the truck before the day of the arrest? This is good news either way. All right, let's get to some very creepy and weird evidence. This is on Court TV. You know how to find them. Not my content. I don't work with Vinny. My spray tan has worn off, if you know what I mean. He did have a secret room in the house. Now, I don't know how you would have a secret room in the house, but he did. He had his tracks covered. Just Me said his brother's a real winner, too. Yep, the brother's a real winner, too. Hello, Unseen Thinkers. Did you get my email, Unseen Thinkers? They found life-size dolls in the home. Weapons, which that doesn't part my hair. This is America. A lot of people have weapons. Let's look at this.
Welcome back. We're learning more about the evidence in the state of New York related to the suspect charged in the Long Island serial killer case at Gilgo Beach. Rex Howerman faces charges in connection to the killings of several women found along that New York Beach highway more than a decade ago. Detectives say that DNA from a pizza crust is what links the suspect to the murders. A source familiar with the case also told CNN that Howerman asked about media coverage of the case when he was arrested last week. He asked during his jail intake, quote, "Is it in the news?" Joining us now, Court TV crime and justice correspondent Matt Johnson. Good morning to you, Matt. Let's start with what's the latest.
Yeah, isn't that shocking? Good afternoon to you, Ted. Yeah, I didn't ask about his family or about the victims or about the evidence. Is it in the news? Police also telling us that they're building a case against.
Think about this. 2 things. First off, thank you, Snazzy, for the super sticker. You are too good to me. The brother's girlfriend didn't return home last night, and the many dogs are strangely quiet today. Woo! Woo! Krusty the Clown, the ogre, Didn't ask about his wife. Didn't ask about his children. He wants to know if this is in the news. Get him a TV. That's what I'm saying. Let him see. Yeah, it's everywhere.
This man that they call a demon, and we're learning more about that arrest, that takedown. Take a look at your screen right there. Architect Rex Heuermann in this video. Law enforcement surrounding him on 5th Avenue. They're in New York. Heuermann became a suspect after the FBI got involved in a task force that was formed last year. The arrest after his DNA linked him, allegedly, to 3 of the murders. Right now, police are searching his Long Island home and storage units. They have removed, get this, 200 guns from behind a locked door in his house and a life-size doll. Police say...
A life-sized doll. Now, good old Jennifer Coffindaffer dropped on Twitter about the hazmat suits. They also took a refrigerator. She says, these are clues. No shit. You don't have to be retired FBI to know these are clues. And of course they're wearing hazmat suits. They can't contaminate what could be a crime scene. We don't know that he did not kill the women in the house and then take them to the beach. We don't know. We do not know. I have to see a picture of the life-size doll. If anybody can find it, please let me know. I need it for my next thumbnail. Good morning, Glenn.
Hi. My avatar's not working.
Oh, that's okay. You can keep it covered up however you want to do it. What do you make of this case?
I think it's a real mess. But I can't think until I get this straight. If you would indulge me.
Here, I'll put you back and go through this while you figure out your avatar.
Okay, thank you.
I got to find a picture of this doll, guys. Glenn's playing peekaboo with us.
His wife and daughter, who lived in the home with him, had no idea what was happening about his alleged double life.
When we initially informed them about their husband, their father, they were shocked. They were disgusted. They were embarrassed. So if you ask me, I don't believe that they knew about this double life that Mr. Heuermann was living.
Police say that they have executed a number of search warrants to be expected, and they are in the process, Ted, of interviewing people that are close to him.
New evidence in the case. There's going to be a lot of it, right? And we are learning more with each day that passes.
Yeah, and we're still learning what they are connecting to him. Right now, investigators say that they have a flood of evidence that they are combing through, searching his storage units for trophies, we're told, for items taken from possible victims. We know that they have DNA evidence from that discarded pizza crust that matched the victims, DNA on the victims, and a disturbing online search history that includes child porn, sadistic images, and information about the case, about the Long Island serial killer. Police say Heuermann used burner phones and one of the phones of a victim to taunt her family. That's alleged. Right now, he is charged.
Okay, let's talk about the burner phones and the sex doll that's life-sized, Glenn. I'm going to assume you don't have a life-sized doll in a glass case anywhere around your property.
No, it's 3/4 size.
Okay, you like midgets? You're like Kid Rock, huh?
Easy. No, I don't. So a couple things about this guy that's come on.
I don't know if you sent this to me. I have to go back and look. Are they really that flexible, if you know what I mean? Where's Tiffany? Where's Tiff?
I'll tell you what I know about this. I didn't even know that was a doll when you put it up. So they're
That's
posable too.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
They're posable.
Posable.
Yeah.
How about that?
Where the hell is Tiffany? Somebody ring Tiffany.
Posable dolls. I don't know what's going on there. This is a really creepy guy. A couple things that strike me about him are when asked if it was on the news. Like he's really living in his own world. Yes, it's on the news. Very much on the news, dude. The fact, a secret room, I guess everyone always wants a secret room, but probably not for what he was using it for, I'm sure. So that tells me that, a lot of times in these cases we go, well, how did it go on for so long and nobody knew? But if this, oh God, what is that? Oof, I don't even want to know.
Look on the screen.
I
This is
am. I'm like
Nancy just sent
really
me.
freaking out. They don't want nothing to do
This
with.
is something from a horror movie.
Yeah. Jesus. I think we're going to find out that this guy is maybe one of the creepiest, of the crowd from over the decades past. I think there's going to be there's already stuff coming out that clearly police and law enforcement of all types, someone, they saw things that were so shocking. It's already getting out, and it's just, I don't know. I feel bad. Does he have daughters or sons or both? Or
Two daughters, from what I
two
understand.
daughters. Oh my God. Yeah. Wow. See, again, that ripple effect that we talk about, right? When someone commits such crimes, and this is next level stuff, I believe we'll find out. I mean, the family is ruined. It really makes me sad. But
My phone.
yeah, the guy doesn't need his pizza
Everybody
crust.
is emailing me and messaging me pictures of sex dolls. Y'all are going to get me on the FBI list.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Well, I think I don't know. I'd leave my email alone today if that was the case. That's kind of creepy that they make dolls so real looking like that. I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I had the picture of I just had a different picture, whatever it was. But I thought that was a real person when you first put it up. What's Brooks doing?
Yeah, what's going on? Rexy said, I thought the neighbor said he had a special needs son. I'd like to know. I mean, I really don't want to know about his family. I really don't. I think they need to be left alone because I've heard he has 2 adult daughters. That was what was reported over the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if it was a Chucky doll. Or like Bride of Chucky.
That would be too much. I couldn't deal with that. And I don't think anyone else could, I would say.
The Google
It's so weird to me. I mean, it's tragic and people lost their lives, but what's wrong? Where does this depravity come from in a person?
Satan.
Yeah.
That's the only thing it could, because I mean, honestly, when you have a man like Krusty the ogre that he can't have relations with his wife or girlfriend, whatever, maybe he's got a side chick, I don't know, that he has to have a sex doll and he's researching CP and murder porn. There's something with him that cannot be satisfied with just a normal person. It's disgusting.
He's like a poo-poo platter of depravity, because it's unusual for people that are in, well, I don't know. So it's my understanding that people that are into CP, that's their jam, right? And yet he seems to be interested as well in older people.
Oh, he is, and it's getting crazier and crazier. To think that they're investigating properties in South Carolina, and he has ties to Vegas. And let's face it, there's that's Sin City. Let's do a round of applause for Crime Time. She says, Brooks, you ain't gonna believe this, but I'm trying this YouTube thing out. Everybody, let's do a round of applause for our friend Crime Time.
Way to go.
Good job, Time. I can't wait to see it. Christina said, Brooks, did you hear about the timeout dolls left at the scene? You know, as if I couldn't think about anything else. The dolls have thrown a new wrench
Yeah.
into this already disgusting and horrific situation. Let's get back to the evidence breakdown before I lose my damn mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still getting pictures of sex dolls. I
Stop,
love you
people.
guys.
Stop.
Love you guys. I'm going to send them all to Glenn. Glenn,
Okay.
put your out there.
In the deaths of 3 of the 4 Gilgo 4 murders, charges are pending in the case of Maureen Barnes.
So it's going to take a little time. I'm not sure exactly what the time frame is, but because the hair follicle was somewhat damaged and trying to match the DNA connected to the hair, it may take longer than we anticipate. But if it does come back as a match, then we'll definitely charge him with the murder to Mrs. Barnes.
So again, more possible arrests, more possible charges pending. Heuermann pleaded not guilty to the 6 murder charges that he faces for the 3 alleged victims. He's also being held without bail. He is expected to be in court on August 1st, Ted.
All right, Matt Johnson, thank you. Matt will be keeping us updated throughout the day here on Court TV on this very disturbing trial. Evil amongst us, I guess, is the theme. Many people are thinking on this one because this guy was the suburban dad, architect in Manhattan, commuted into the city, worked there for years. Let's talk about it more with Marie Pereira and Jack Rice. And Marie, your overall thoughts? You're up there in New York. This guy, he was able to, for so long, evade investigators in a case that shocked not only New Yorkers, but the whole country.
I'm not surprised because usually serial killers do a lot of damage before they are caught or even considered as suspects. I mean, this defendant is cloaked in a presumption of innocence, but so far, the state seems to be building a good case with DNA evidence. If it adds up along with the computer searches and digital evidence, it's mounting against him. But I think it's an ongoing investigation. They still are finding things in his house. I almost laughed out loud when I heard about the life-size doll and then the 200 guns, and his family had no idea. I will definitely be going about 15 minutes from where I live to that courthouse when the case is on.
Woo! Girl, get it. Go get it. Snazzy said, thank you for the super sticker, by the way. She said, sent you the real photo of the doll this time.
Oh, this might even be worse, Brooks. Careful.
Damn. Hang on. I love this lady.
If it has a mouth that looks like a donut, go.
They do. I mean, a lot of those dolls, I mean, these pictures I'm getting on my phone, they have a constant O face. It's so weird. I mean, you can't get the O look off their face.
Oh. Well,
woo! Well,
you know you're making them happy when they look like that, I guess.
You know the O I'm talking about.
Against him. But I think it's an ongoing investigation. They still are finding things in his house. I almost laughed out loud when I heard about the life-size doll and then the 200 guns, and his family had no idea. I will definitely be going about 15 minutes from where I live to that courthouse when the case is on.
Ooh, we're gonna have you on here when you walk out of the courtroom. The evidence that you can feel when investigators are confident, right? And they are confident here because they do have the double whammy of he does fit descriptions of witness testimony and that DNA that they work so hard to, because they have hair. They just needed to find out who they should zero in on, and you add the phones into it. It's a lot like Kohlberger, right? I mean, this was a very extensive investigation, but you can tell they're kind of puffing their chests now. They got their guy.
Well, they do.
Oh, come on. I hate when these commentators say, oh, now they're puffing their chests and it's kind of like Kohlberger. This is nothing like Idaho. This is nothing like Idaho. Forget it. This is what Snazzy just sent me. If you look at that glass case, New York Post tweet.
Oh God.
I don't know
It
what
had
I'm
its own like
about.
case. Eesh.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm more creeped out about.
I tell you what, I'm a little creeped out about in a different kind of creeped out way is that the judge cited extreme depravity in not, giving bail. There's some bad stuff. I've never heard that used in a legal sense. Certainly not with relation to bail. So, wow.
I wonder if there's any DNA on the doll, blue dress from the 90s style.
There is. I don't think they're having conversations.
Hell no.
Oh, man.
And I think the investigators, considering everything that's been going on in that department, that finally cracked the case, got to it, worked with the FBI, should pat themselves on the back. They need to understand what I said at the beginning of the show, what went on with the chief of police, what went on with the DA. A lot of stuff was going on in that department that further delayed justice. And while they were screwing around, figuratively and literally, in the police cruiser, he was still seeing other sex workers.
In this sense, at least from the beginning, I think of this like a thread attached to a sweater. When you can get your fingers on that one thread and you start pulling, it's what's attached to everything else that's going to make so much difference here. And if we think about the DNA that's there, that's extraordinarily important. Juries love that. And that's really important in terms of identification. Yes, but there's the new DNA. There is the cell phone records. There are the searches. There's the GPS aspect of where he is and where he's going. The idea of being able to take back and look at everything that they have now and sort of open it back up. You can track people in ways that we never used to be able to do that. And so as a result, what you can find is the forensics of these kinds of cases.
And they're right. In all fairness, when they found the bodies of Megan, Melissa, Amber, and Maureen, which he's the prime suspect in her murder, they did not have the technology. Sometimes I think these departments can't keep up with technology. What do you think about that, Glenn?
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it is, and I have a feeling this guy stopped also. I think had he continued, that, technology would have been more on top of it in the moment rather than 10, 12 years later.
I really believe if they had the technology in 2010, 2011, 2012, because we know, every time we get a phone, it's got something new on it. You know what I mean? For some reason, I don't think he stopped, and I think it goes before 2010. Because people like this, like Joel Rifkin, we were talking about him on Monday. And he's a serial killer. He spoke with the FBI to give them for him to give his insight on a co-worker, if you know what I mean, another serial killer. He describes sex workers as vermin, drug addicted. And he said, you're fooling yourself if you think he would just stop. Now, the Golden State Killer just stopped, but that could have been his age as well.
Yeah. Well, this guy's no spring chicken, said the old man. And, I was thinking about that a moment ago, about how it really sucks how he got to walk around for 60 years. He's done his thing for the most part. Jail's going to suck. But it's a shame. To be that old, I think what that the speaker was saying earlier is absolutely correct. That there's going to be some things in his past, and I think they're going to solve some crimes. Because you don't just start doing that stuff. Well, 10 years ago, he's 59, but 49. You just don't do that. You know. So,
no. Madam Secretary said, no way he stopped. Why would he?
right.
Said, I think he got bored and started changing his MO. So that's why the bodies are different. I think they are all his. That's his playground. He had other playgrounds because I just do not believe that in South Carolina, this is a coincidence. I just don't believe it. And we're going to get to that. The Vegas connection and the South Carolina connection. A lot of these people, as we know, he had all of these searches. He was researching. Joel Rifkin, when we showed that on Monday, talked about research that he did. Ted Bundy said he had to change his type because he didn't want to make it too easy on the feds. He knew it was being investigated. He had
And this guy wants to know. This guy wants to know if it's on the news. I'm sorry to laugh, but it's such a terrible topic. But I can't believe that was his question. So
he wants to know if it's in the news. He wants to know if it's in the news. Not how's my wife? Can I talk to my wife?
What is that?
Yeah. And this was in the Facebook group. This is just an example, not the actual one of the camouflaged burlap that he used. It's not the burlap that people are thinking, like the burlap you get like when you buy a tree at the nursery, you know, and it's got the twine around it. You got the dirt ball. No.
Right. That's so that's like camouflage burlap, maybe so you can't see it, but I see it. That's a camouflage joke.
This is another reason why I don't think he stopped, because he was still seeking out the sex trade, according to the DA. Let's look at this.
Okay.
Killer taken into custody last week. Rex Huerman, a married father of two, will be in court again on August 1st.
The suspect's 12-year killing spree came to an end last week when members of that task force took him into custody near his office in Manhattan. Joining us this morning is Suffolk County District Attorney Ray Tierney on what exactly happens now. So, DA Tierney, good to see you here on the couch, and such a huge, huge story.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you being here. Let me begin with this first question that's been on the mind of so many who have been asking me this since this broke last week. That this suspect was tied to those three women, a possible fourth, right? That's what he's charged with. But do you believe that Rex Huerman is the prime suspect for all of the bodies along Gilgo Beach, or is there a possible other serial killer out there?
So we looked at this this case. You know, I got into office January 2022. We formed the task force February 1st of 2022. We identify him as a suspect in March. We've been off and running ever since. We're working on what has been traditionally called the Gilgo 4. We're working on that, and we have no.
Because it may not be 4. So he takes office in January of 2022. They start the task force in February of 2022. They did a lot of work considering this dude is a serial killer in a little over a year. There was the FBI agent on CBS this morning, I think over the weekend, that said serial killers are very hard to catch because they're methodical, they are calculated, and when there is zero relation between the victim and the perpetrator, it's hard to solve that puzzle. And let's face it, this dude was hiding in plain sight, married, he's a father, he's an architect in Manhattan. Who would suspect him? But the behavioral scientists in 2011 had his profile pinned down. Middle-aged, white, financially secure, expensive car or truck, probably married or has a steady girlfriend.
I sure would love to know how they do that. I'm going to have to. I don't know if there are books about how profilers come up with these things or videos or something, but how do you nail something like that? Affluent, you know, how does that come into a profile from, you know, the evidence, right? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Snazzy said that Preston had just purchased a new burner phone and his wife was due for her summer trip to Iceland. He had plans, my friends. He had plans.
Okay, I'll say that you guys changed my mind a little bit because surely he plays when the wife is away, but maybe they will find more things now. Cases solving.
And he was still contacting, workers. He used Tinder, Craigslist, you name it.
Evidence with regard to participation by anybody else.
Okay, but then let's talk about the three and that possible fourth. Do you believe that Rex Human worked alone, or is there an accomplice you're looking for?
There's no
Oh
evidence
God,
of any.
is he from YouTube?
For
We
real.
know that he's married. He has 2 kids. Is it possible that any of these killings took place in their family home?
So, we had during the bail application, we talked about 5 questioned hairs. Where we had 3 of those hairs tested. We're awaiting further analysis on 2 of them. But with regard to the 3, one of the DNA profile from one of those hairs matched the defendant, and the DNA profile from 2 of those hairs matched his wife. So the only explanation for that would be transfer. In other words, person A comes in contact with person B, and then person B has person A's hair come in contact with person C, or the victim and the defendant were at a location, either a car or the house where the wife would be.
And is the wife and children cooperating, and did they know about this suspicious behavior?
So we don't believe that the wife and family knew.
They were out of town.
Yeah, and knew about, yes. And during the commission of the 3 murders, they were travel records show that they were out of New York State during the commission of all 3 of those murders.
So we had our Pixelman drone over the house as we watched the investigators, the men and women, bringing out some of that evidence that you were talking about, right? So much evidence that is found inside that home, which we were told by the commissioner earlier this morning is a very cluttered atmosphere. Can you talk about some of the items that you're removing and the significance of them? And was there anything in terms of a murder weapon found inside?
Sure. So, with regard to our search warrants, one of the key pieces of evidence here are hairs, fibers, DNA. So you're talking about evidence on a molecular level. So when we execute search warrants, we start with all of those really small things, and then we're looking for anything and everything, computers, cell phones. So it's a painstaking process as those forensic investigators go over that house inch by inch by inch. So, I mean, that's why it's taking such a long time.
Well, yeah, and there was this talk of the storage facility in Amityville that's being searched this morning as well. So I'm guessing
Amityville?
Yeah, storage facility being searched in Amityville. Now, let me ask you, Glenn, you're in the hot seat and everybody in here. What do you think is the most damning piece of evidence? His hair, his wife's hair, the burner phones, the searches, the pings? Because, I mean, they have a lot. The DNA on the pizza crust. What do you think, Glenn?
Well, I think it's the one, right? I have to pick one. I would say the wife's hair, because that really cements him into the picture. Hairs are everywhere, right?
Mm-hmm.
And although that would probably be enough to do it, but with his hair and his wife's hair, I think that's a big deal. And of course, you go down the line in DNA. I have a question for you. I've been involved with Beautiful Things the last week or so. So
Hang on, I can actually hear you. You're muffled just a little bit.
Okay. I've been involved with Beautiful Things the last week or so, and I haven't heard whether or not it was through genealogy that they discovered, they've been on to him since March, they said. Was that how they did it, through genealogy searches?
I've heard yes, and I've heard no. I've heard mitochondrial DNA, which was not available in 2010, 2011, and that the FBI went to his work and matched the DNA to the pizza crust.
Gotcha. I have a feeling that's what we're going to find out. Yeah.
That's why I laugh at some of these YouTubers. I'm like, you can't do 1% of what the investigators do. You're not going to dig out a pizza box and take it in your garage and get a microscope from Amazon and analyze it, you can't do what they do.
I want to get a microscope that has a camera in it, so that when I do my investigations, I can post my DNA pictures on my community tab.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
We're going to start our own DNA lab, everybody. Let's do
Right.
it. Get ready. I'm going to knock your socks off with the wrong information, because that's all I would have.
Guessing it's the similar things you're looking for. But when you talk about body parts and trophies, anything jumping out that immediately ties him.
I'm here to
Well, you
help.
know, so the women, they were intact, so we're not necessarily looking for that. But we are looking for mementos, trophies, or really anything that could link this defendant back to those women or those crime scenes.
Have you found anything? I mean, we heard about left shoes. We heard about this hammer that's been used. We heard about the hemp that they were wrapped around.
So the amount of evidence that we're getting, both digital, forensically, and otherwise, is massive.
You're trying so hard not to say something
Well,
right now.
you know what we do? What we do is we don't talk. We don't make conjecture. I don't, at least. We don't talk about what we think. We talk about what we know, and we get it back in the lab. We examine it. We're careful. And then we make our conclusions.
And I just want to zero in on that hammer for a moment, because there was this video that I'm sure you've seen that kind of circulated, this interview that he did, right, that was put out there, where he talks about this architect's hammer, and that's how it's his favorite weapon, or favorite tool. Was that at all found, and are you looking for that item?
We're looking for everything, but I will say, with regard to the autopsy done on the 4 women, the cause of death was homicidal violence, and that encompasses a broad category. And basically, what it means is there was no overt injury to the body.
There was no over injury to the body. So what does that mean? Does anybody know?
I do. Strangle. Oops. The S thing with the neck, right? STR. Because these bodies, they weren't found immediately. There was some of the things going on. So that would be my guess. I would think a guy like that.
All of these hammer rumors, that is intimidation.
Yeah, but that would show up on bones.
They would damn sure know if a hammer was used.
Yeah, I think so.
When we start our DNA trials, I think we're going to know the difference between a stabbing and a hammer.
Yeah, but we can't understand these people really. I think back to, it's really hard to talk about here without saying things, but I'll do my best. But I think about BTK and how he said he enjoyed watching, the life, go. And so I wouldn't be surprised if this guy's the same way. I mean, what did the judge, what was the term? Extreme depravity. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is the same way. I think he enjoys all of that stuff. It's just hard to fathom, hard to understand when, it's like if you hate football, you just don't understand why someone loves football, but worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Chloe had a good point. Ted Bundy did too. They've explained. Others have. Other serial killers that this was a sexual release for them. I probably can't say that on YouTube. They enjoyed watching the life disappear from their eyes. It's disgusting. It's disgusting.
What is that? I just don't understand. I can't relate. And so
Satan.
Yeah.
So there was no fractures or anything like that.
Okay,
or obvious gunshot wounds or something.
I want to talk about this watershed moment in the case, because I think it's so important. Like you said, you took over in January of 2022. February is when that task force was created, but it was March when these ties were made of Rex Heuermann to a Chevy Avalanche, right? And that is really kind of what jump-started everything for the next year and a half. Can you talk about that moment?
Sure. So the day before Amber Costello, the last victim, she disappeared on September 2nd of 2010. On September 1st, she had interaction with an individual who was driving an Avalanche, and also the physical description was of a very large man, 6'4" to 6'6", very thickly built, just a large individual, white, glasses, a thick dark hair, so when we saw that this defendant owned an Avalanche, we also saw that he lived in Massapequa Park and worked in Midtown Manhattan, and that was significant because he lived and worked in a constrained area where the FBI had determined there was cell phone usage of interest to the case. So all of those things, sort of fit together. So from March 14, 2022, about 6 weeks after we started the task force, we focused in on this individual. We were sort of off and running. And then we went back, of course, and we examined the hairs through mitochondrial DNA analysis, and then we got those profiles. So, but the watershed moment was that March 14th work.
Wow, that is a lot. So they were honed on him for quite a while, but they didn't have enough for a probable cause. You doing okay, Glenn? This is a lot to take in, my friend.
I'm good. I was so those selfies that he took, with the camera in front of his face and the flash. That was good. I'm sorry. On the right. What is that?
And why does every
really
serial killer get the same frames, the same lenses from lens crafters? Every damn one of them. They always have those damn glasses.
I know. But really, can that be classified, categorized, described as a selfie? I don't know. All I see is glasses and a phone and a really bright light.
I don't know. Crooked tile is giving me some damn anxiety, though. I can tell you something right now, because I'm no carpenter. I'm no tile smith, but I can do a better job than that.
#fail.
#fail.
Speaking about fail, these are two of the worst reporters I've ever seen.
Well, they're trying to put words in his mouth, and
I know.
I'm done with them. I mean, my God,
think you have an accomplishment?
What about the hammer? We keep hearing the word
weapon
tragedy pimp all the time. Tragedy pimp, tragedy pimp. I've been called one. No way would I be calling to the lead investigator or the DA and go, "What about the hammer? Did you think about this? What did you watch the Murder, She Wrote last night?"
Yeah. And then she said, I'm sorry to take everything off the rails, but she said, "I feel like you're holding things back from us." You're awful.
And I'll tell you what, if I worked at Lens Crafters or one of those places and somebody came in that looked like crusty glasses, I'd be dialing 1-800 find FBI real quick. We sold another pair. We sold another pair.
Oh man, someone follow that guy.
Exactly. I've got his name. I've got his insurance card. We sold another pair. That'd be me. I'm always helping out.
It's not even like a good look if you're gonna wear like a white shirt. Do something with yourself, like a tie, or I don't know. It's for I don't know. I'm not going to get all judgy.
I wonder if he put the glasses on the doll.
That's a doll, you say?
That's a doll.
Do the fuck? Oh, sorry. Wow. I don't know what. I don't have words.
He said, "See, Brooks, you are a profiler. Look at me go. Glenn and I are going to figure out DNA. I'm going to get a DNA kit from Amazon.
Yeah, I'm going to get the camera microscope.
Look at us profiling like a mofo. All right, so the guy that interviewed Rex a few years ago for his YouTube channel, which was basically about architecture, is now coming out saying that he was intrusive. Something gave him weird vibes. Well, they always come out like Monday morning quarterbacks, but I do want to hear what he thinks now, because in retrospect, I'd be creeped out if I was ever around him.
Fair.
Shockwaves through a quiet Long Island neighborhood as police swarmed the suspect's home.
CBS 2's Dick Brennan went to Massapequa Park to get reaction from some very stunned neighbors.
Into the night, people in Massapequa Park did their best to get a glimpse of the home of the suspected serial killer living right in their midst.
It's creepy, really. I mean, if you look at the house, I mean, it kind of stands out, but it's creepy. It's weird.
It's a quiet town. Everyone knows each other. Nothing really goes on. So it was just surprising to hear and kind of scary. I was like, holy crap. Unbelievable right now, town.
James Pagano couldn't believe when he heard the name of the suspect because he went to high school with Rex Heuermann.
He was
Same glasses.
Quiet, dark, kept to himself, and extremely intelligent, very smart.
And that was one thing that the FBI profiler said. He's going to be extremely intelligent, well-spoken, financially secure. Did you know he also went to school with Billy Baldwin? You know, Billy Baldwin is the Roger Clinton of the Baldwin family. Did you know that?
No, I did not. No, I didn't. But this guy knew him when he was a kid, huh? I like this guy. No, I didn't know that.
I feel bad for anybody that knew him.
Yeah, you know, I think that's something else. You know, we talk about things that we can't understand or relate to, and when you know someone, especially for a long time, even a decade or 5 years or 40 years, and you know them and you've interacted with them, and maybe you thought they were a little weird, but you surely didn't think that they were what they are. And then when something like this happens, it has to be incredibly chilling, don't you think? Yeah, me too.
Oh, I'm telling you, because my high school reunion is in October, and I see anybody with a pair of these specs.
Yeah.
I won't be on that homecoming committee again.
Well,
So just who is Rex Heuermann? He grew up on Long Island, but he worked in Midtown, an architect who ran a company called RH Consultants and Associates.
How you doing? Good to see you.
YouTuber Antoine Amira, who runs a page called Bonjour Realty, interviewed Heuermann about his work a year ago.
What has this job taught you about yourself? I think it's taught me more about how to understand people.
Really what stood out is his attention to details. He was very knowledgeable, very detail-oriented.
Amira told us Heuermann had a distinct physical presence.
Intimidating, no. Imposing, yes. Very, very imposing. He is a head above me, a very large person. I still remember.
All right, let's talk about that. What is Antoine saying? He was very imposing. Well, I think we can all agree that he is an imposing dude.
I think it's kind of subjective too, though, in all fairness, right? Because anyone that's like that, they're they're pretty imposing. I mean, he's a big guy. He was much bigger than anyone that was walking him out. So I don't think he had any problem doing the heavy lifting, if you will. Yeah.
Sadistic, sick, and Antoine said he's imposing.
His handshake when we met. Yeah, very strong.
It was.
Wow.
A very strong handshake. It was like you were shaking like a very thick piece of marble. That's how strong his hand was.
CBS 2 was outside Heuermann's office at 36th and 5th as authorities carried out at least 4 computers, and now the investigation continues.
The human nature is fascinating because you never know who you have in front of you. It's very unsettling at the same time, but also fascinating.
This is breaking news.
Did you see that handshake?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he does have a strong handshake, and I will say this, and my husband does not have a pair of those glasses. He's a big dude, but he's big about a strong handshake. If you've got a limp handshake, well, then you got to limp something else.
Yeah, well, fair enough. I mean, that's a guy thing, and the trick is a firm handshake and a sincere handshake, but not to grab someone's hand and crush it and swing place like you're the straw man from Wizard of Oz. That was the weirdest handshake I've ever seen in my life. Red flag.
Red flag. Yeah, that and the glasses. But I tell you what, finding his wife's hair on the duct tape, who was in Iceland, then in Maryland, then in Pennsylvania, which, I mean, honestly, my hair is all over this place. I mean, I can't sweep and vacuum enough. I mean, there's black hair from my cat and red hair from me all over the place.
Right. So for me, not so much, because I'm bald.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about these connections to Vegas and South Carolina? Because I don't think they can be ignored. This was on Twitter the other day. Wow, just heard back from Las Vegas Metro PD. They tell me they are aware of Krusty's connections to Las Vegas and are reviewing all of their unsolved cases to see if there's any possibility he is involved. This investigation really is taking off across the country.
Yeah. So, and that could explain why, it seemingly stopped in New York there, because this guy took his show on the road.
I think he did, and I think he started in South Carolina. I think I'm telling you, I think they're going to find something big in South Carolina.
Well, it's going to be big, but let's try to think ahead, maybe, and wonder. I wonder how long it's going to be before people are on YouTube are like, he had an accomplice. I mean, you heard that reporter. I just hope that it doesn't take off like that. And, this thing is bad enough without a lot of nonsense. Do you think he had an accomplice? I think he's everywhere.
I think it's gonna get wild. It's gonna get this. It's just too much. This is not gonna be a Lifetime movie. This is gonna be like a 12-parter on Netflix.
Serial murder case out of Long Island, New York. As we first reported last night, suspected killer Rex Heuermann has ties to Las Vegas. 13 Chief Investigator Darcy Spears explores what that could mean for cold cases in our community.
We've confirmed with Metro that they are aware of Rex Heuermann's connection to Las Vegas. Police say as a result, they are currently reviewing unsolved cases to see if he has any involvement. Heuermann and his wife own a timeshare condo at Club de Soleil on Tropicana Avenue and Lindell Road. Property records show they bought it in 2005 for $17,000. The 59-year-old New York architect was arrested and charged late last week with murdering multiple sex workers.
Rex Heuermann was in fact the individual responsible for, at minimum, the deaths of 3 women.
Heuermann has pleaded not guilty to the killings of Melissa Bartolome, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello, whose remains were unearthed near Long Island's Gilgo Beach in 2010. Police say he's also the prime suspect in the 2007 disappearance and killing of a 4th woman, Maureen Brainerd Barnes, though he has yet to be charged in the case.
Some of the searches that we saw that he was doing is alarming. It's very, very concerning. And once again, as I have to make sure that everybody understands that it's a very good thing that we got this animal off the streets.
New York authorities are investigating all of Heuermann's whereabouts and conduct from the time the first bodies were discovered in 2010 up through his arrest on July 13th. The investigation could include Las Vegas. Prosecutors in New York found more than 200 guns in a vault.
200 guns, which I don't care about people's weapons, and it seems to me he didn't use a weapon. The life-size doll can't get out of my mind. Look at the temperature in Vegas. Are you looking at that, Glenn? Now, mind you, it's a dry heat. 109 degrees. Woo! No bueno.
Vault in Heuermann's home there. CNN is reporting authorities in New York are also looking for items that could be souvenirs from the killings, things Heuermann may have hidden from his family. Suffolk County Police have executed a number of search warrants, but we don't yet know whether any of them have been here in Las Vegas. We asked New York and Las Vegas authorities if they're searching Heuermann's timeshare property at Club de Soleil. Neither would comment on that.
There are currently important investigative steps that are continuing and ongoing.
Sources tell 13 Investigates Metro has a number of cold cases involving sex workers. We've asked how many of those unsolved crimes there are, and we are still waiting for that information. Metro is not giving any interviews about the current case at this time. As we continue investigating, we've found Huerman may have owned a second timeshare in Las Vegas. Our records search shows that in 2012, Huerman and his wife sold a property for $51,000 to Wyndham Vacation Resorts. That property on Harmon and Koval is currently called Wyndham Grand Desert. We called them for comment, but have not heard back.
Wow. So he has a place there. It's like a station, right? It's like a workstation. So I think they're going to find things in Las Vegas. Also, I'm sure her dress is inspired by Barbie, the summer of 2023.
You got it. And this Club Des Soleil that he was a member of, you can
say it again.
Club Des Soleil, in Las Vegas. Of course, you know I'm saying it wrong. You're lucky I get your name.
No, right. Yeah, shut up.
Let me find an accent. An accent. Club Des Soleil.
Club Des Soleil.
Club Des Soleil. Has a lot of pay by the hour guests. Okay.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes, sir.
So he's right there, man. I mean, again, he's lazy. Like he just does stuff in his own area, and then he goes to Las Vegas and he gets a place where people come right to him in a sense.
Yeah.
Well, well, you know, when you get older,
I think in a way,
you try to work smarter, not harder.
In a way, I know this sounds really stupid. As sloppy as he got, I think we're going to see. I think we're going to see some sloppiness. I think he wanted to get caught. These people, they revel in their crimes, and it's going to get to a point where he's going to sit down and spill everything because he wants the notoriety. He already asked, "Is this on the news?"
That's crazy. What are you thinking about when you say that?
Is this on the news? Why would you ask that? Let's talk about that. I want everybody's opinion. Why would he ask if this is on the news?
Well, for the record, I agree with you. I think he wanted to be sure, but I mean, why wouldn't he say, "Someone, please let my wife know that I'll be late" or something? I don't understand why that's the first
question. Is this
question.
on the news? I'm surprised he didn't say, "Is this? Can you tell me what station? Is it just on the internet?" I hope they're holding.
Yeah.
It's worldwide.
It's all over, dude.
It's everywhere. I think and now we have the South Carolina connection. Let's talk about this. I got this from Snazzy. It is not a sex doll. We have the South Carolina properties. These are the South Carolina properties, and there are several of them. Okay? Audrey Conklin said the Chester County Sheriff's Office is confirming that it assisted the investigation by the, I'm just going to say, LISC task force by obtaining a court order to seize a vehicle in South Carolina. Murder suspect Krusty owns property in rural South Carolina where he planned to retire near his brother, neighbors told me. A neighbor saw a truck being towed from the brother's property on Friday. So that was on Friday. So they were already on the South Carolina connection. We have this. The Suffolk County medical examiner is now at another storage facility. He was keeping trophies. Joe Scott, who is a very good forensic scientist, said, "This is significant, my friend. They are either there to examine/validate a finding or remove a biological element for further exam by the medical examiner."
Yeah, he makes a very good point there, right?
He's very well spoken, and he doesn't just talk out his ass.
Right.
We did this yesterday in the members live, and now I'm going to share it with you. Our idiot of the week. Okay.
Wait, I'm a member. How did I not?
You got to go back and see the members live, my friend. I update the community tab all the time. So you guys go check the community tab on YouTube. Just look for community. If it's in green, it'll say members. It's for members only. So we talked about this yesterday, the idiot of the week. The idiot of the week is Jennifer Coffendaffer. She says hazmat suits worn and a refrigerator seized. What all was Krusty capable of? These are clues. No shit.
Oh, refrigerator.
Of course they're clues. And yes, they wear hazmat suits. I understand that you get 140 characters on the Twitter, but you can phrase it a little bit better than that.
And she's former FBI.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Brilliant.
She was the one sharpening the damn pencils. She was the one getting coffee. I'm so sick of her shit. Even Chris Cuomo looks at her like she's got a dick growing out of her head. He just looks at her like, what?
What's going on, you think? Has she just lost her marbles?
Looks at her like he's confused. He's just like... You heard it here first. These are clues. You heard it here. Now let's get to the South Carolina connection.
Tonight, the Gilgo Beach murders case is now unfolding in 3 states.
Police in South Carolina and Nevada now also looking into possible connections to accused killer Rex Heuermann.
With the new developments on a cold case that's suddenly hot. Here's Eyewitness News reporter Jim Dolan.
The arrest of Rex Heuermann is rippling now across the country. From Massapequa Park, where he lived, to South Carolina, where he owned 3 pieces of property. Investigators seized a car there they believe may be related to the murders. And in Nevada, where he owned a home. Investigators there looking at unsolved murders to see if Heuermann may be responsible for those. Did Rex Heuermann murder even more women?
I don't know the answer to that question. I would definitely not rule it out.
Police have found an obsessive number of searches on Heuermann's phones related to the Gilgo Beach case. A decade went by without an arrest in that case before a proper task force to investigate it was assembled. Just 3 months later, they named Heuermann as a suspect. Why didn't previous investigators find
Nice
I
vest.
can't talk about what happened in the past.
Okay, good for the DA. He said, we're not going to talk about what happened in the past. I mean, and I've seen these comments, don't cry over spilled milk. That's the past. Because if you caught the beginning of the show, if not, hit the replay because it's very important. The corruption that was in this department hindered this investigation. And well, I'm going to go ahead and say others. You know, we're not talking about someone swerving or making a wide right turn and they realize they're intoxicated. We're talking about a damn serial killer.
Yeah.
You know, they had a chief of police. They forced him to retire, take an early retirement. They put another one in who got in trouble, but kept his job for having a sex worker in his police car, but she wasn't in handcuffs. Okay, my friend?
So, therefore, nothing's going on. I get it.
They had other stuff going on.
No handcuffs, no foul.
Yeah. That police chief went to jail for another corrupt matter. The DA got into a heap of trouble. We have the new DA that says, I'm not going to talk about the past. Well, I wouldn't hitch my cart to that pony either. That's just
Suffolk County DA Ray Tierney helped to assemble the team that named Heuermann a suspect. He says previous efforts were beset by infighting, and some published reports have said tension between Suffolk County Police and the FBI may have hindered this important investigation.
If you look in the past, there really wasn't that
that close working relationship, and at various times there was, the task force model broke down, people left, organizations left. So I think there was interference from outside the task force.
He says his task force, though, eliminated that and invited in the best resources from all law enforcement.
The task force was about the task force, and we didn't let any outside political interference hinder the task force.
Huerman's lawyer says his client is innocent, but investigators in 3 states are now behaving as if he's not and looking at other cold cases to see if the hand of Rex Huerman can be found there.
Oh, that's pretty.
So let's talk. Do we think Glenn's in the hot seat? You already know what I think. What do you guys think? Is Vegas a connection in unsolved sex worker crimes there? What about South Carolina? This is a huge FBI investigation.
Clearly they're onto something, and they're not just, chasing shadows. So my thought is yes, and possibly even more, or rather other states, additional states.
Snazzy said yes and yes. I'm telling you what, anywhere that man has been since 1981, I'd be looking at. And let's face it, police don't like to, they've got enough work. They're understaffed, they're underpaid. They don't like to make up work for themselves to do.
Right.
So the fact that they are going to these other states tells me that there's something.
Yeah. Especially because of the fact that they have, well, they've known they knew at least in March. We heard the guy say that earlier, and they may have even known before that. So, they've known for a significant time. I think it's given them a chance to put things together. They were shadowing the guy, waiting for him to do something where they could get some DNA, and boom, he drops a pizza box in the trash can out on the street. Why would you do that? I don't know. I wouldn't take. So if I left work and I had pizza, I wouldn't take the box outside and throw it away. He also, it's weird. It doesn't even fit, man. I just don't know.
And that's what they did. And again, the FBI.
I would have taken that crust, by the way. Oh, wait, but not his.
Eat your broccoli, kids, and eat your crust.
That's right.
I'm telling you what. And again, the FBI pretended to be trash men.
Yeah.
And people say that's not legal. And, and his defense attorney is going to throw that at the wall and see if it sticks. But it's already
some people don't know the law. That's
court. It's already been decided in the Supreme Court. When you put something in the trash, when you put something in the dumpster, there's no reasonable thought that you're going to go and retrieve it and take it back home.
That's right. Clearly that was a YouTuber that said that, I'm sure.
You got it.
Dummy. Can't go in the trash can.
You're not allowed to get in Koberger's trash. No, all around.
They're going to throw it out. He's going to walk with this trash.
No, all around in my
Oh, the stupid.
voice.
Yeah. So you said 81, that's when he graduated from high school, I guess, right?
Yep. And I'm going to profile here. Okay. Glenn, bear with me. I'm basically just going to copy what the FBI said.
Okay.
I think he's had this sickness for a long, long time. Don't think they're not going to go and find out how many girls in high school he tried to get with and how many girls turned him down and what his reaction was. I already read an article about one girl that said he was, and this is in high school, that he was leaving creepy notes for her.
Aye.
So this sickness goes way, way back. Way back. All right, our friend Navalis, you know, I'm a big Navalis fan, guys. So Navalis True Crime, sub up if you want to. You're not going to be disappointed. He needs to start promoting my show because I promote his quite a bit. What do you think, Glenn? I think I'm going to do like at church.
I think someone should kick him in the ankle. That's what I think.
You get a candy bar if you invite a friend to chat.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Glenn?
Well, I think someone should kick him in the ankle.
Okay. So he says that, I love how he put this together, and he's saying that part of it, and the DA has not addressed this, but it makes perfect sense, that the tender payments are huge in this case. And I believe they are, because what the DA says on Fox or NYC this morning, that's not all we have. Lindy said, I can't. I got in a fight in his chat with someone. Woo! Be good. Be good.
Oh, Navalis.
At the end of the day. I thought you meant here, and I was like, nah, let's talk.
Yeah.
All right, let's look at these tender payments because it's really interesting the way he put this together. By the way, promoting myself here, I have put up 2 videos, and I do not have tight editing skills. My name is not Oliver Stone, but one about Madalena Kojikari. It's crazy what's going on there. I have a document dump, and I have to get a live together for Madalena. She's been trafficked. Okay, I know some people say trafficking's not real. It is. So, quit. Just quit with that crap. And I did one about Quentin Simon because Leilani in her defense are hellbound. They are hellbound.
Who want the charges thrown out?
They want the charges thrown out. Well,
I mean, stupid is everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, people in Alaska want suntans. Come on. All right, let's go through these tender payments because this blew my mind. Good job, Navalis.
Little 20-30 page PowerPoint that I just want to run through on how they caught Rex, the Long Island killer. It's all from the indictment, but I've tried to organize it, and I've done a lot of color coding just to make it easier for people to visualize it. So the victims: Melissa, Maureen, Megan.
Now, to make it make sense, I have to go back a little bit.
Okay.
All right. The AOL account, which we all probably used AOL. Remember that noise?
You have mail.
Then it would connect.
Mm-hmm.
You had a telephone cord that went from the living room to the bedroom or wherever you were going to use the computer.
Yeah, now I can use my computer anyway.
Well, old Krusty never gave up on the AOL, and they found a ton of stuff in there, according to the indictment.
Just to make it easier for people to visualize it. So the victims: Melissa, Maureen, Megan, and Amberlynn. They were all found close together, along with, I think, 6 or 7 other bodies that they don't think is linked at this stage, but I wouldn't be surprised if 1 or 2 of them are. The investigations into these 4 deaths were linked as, in addition to other factors, the victims each appeared to have been placed in close proximity to one another, 20 to 33 feet from the edge of the parkway. All were petite females, approximately 22 to 27 years old, believed to be working as sex workers. All had missing clothing and personal possessions. All had been killed.
AKA trophies.
Trophies. Thank you, Glenn. You're exactly right. I got to put my glasses on. Hang on. OJ knocked him in the floor. The investigations into these deaths were linked as, in addition to other factors, the victims each appeared to have been placed in close proximity to one another, 22 to 33 feet from the edge of the parkway. All were petite females, approximately 22 to 27. So that was his type at the time.
Yeah.
Believed to be working as sex workers. They were. All had missing clothing and personal possessions. It's going to be very interesting what they find in those storage units.
Well, yeah. They've called the medical examiner already to one, right?
Yep.
Okay. This guy was proud of his work, I think, and I think he put, that's a bad word. I don't know what a good word is, but you know what I'm reading here, 22 to 33 feet from the parkway, all kind of close to each other. This was a display for him of some type in his mind, I think. And, the more I'm seeing today, the more I think, the more I'm kind of seeing what you're saying about he wanted to get caught.
Julie Howard said, I wonder if it was a family affair with the brother. I've wondered that too, because the brother is a creepy dude as well.
No, that's his accomplice, brother.
So you think he had an accomplice? Because I also
No.
Okay. You think he's the DoorDash driver in Idaho, Glenn?
I do.
Damn it, Glenn. Cracking cases. What the hell is going on around here today? It's just, I want to know how many times, actually, I don't know if I want to know or not, how many more times he visited that beach just to reminisce on what he did.
I'm sure, who knows how often, but it was more than once. This was something also for his convenience, perhaps, right? The closeness, the locations of, everything. And maybe that made it easier. Like I said, I think he's kind of lazy, or, he's working smarter, not harder. But how do you think that that's not going to be found?
How many of these serial killers, though, have said they were ready to be found?
Yeah.
They were just waiting. It's a cat and mouse game on both sides. They're evading the police, not just the police, but the feds. In this case, you have the feds, you have the behavioral science unit with the feds, you have the New York State Troopers, BSU, and corrupt ass Suffolk County.
Mm-hmm. Although, let's be fair, I think this guy came into Suffolk County and really turned things around. And because of him and his approach and him putting his hand up to the politicians and saying, no, this is our case, I think that's what solved this case. So, yeah.
Once the trash took itself out to the jailhouse, they got to business. That's when they got the task force and everything. Because they started getting down to business. That's when they realized about the burner cell phones.
Yep.
The cell phones of 2 of the 4 victims.
Yeah.
Which were Brainerd Barnes and Bartholomew. They were used by the killer after their deaths. In addition, each of the 4 victims were found in similar position, and they were bound in similar fashion by either belts or tape, with 3 of the victims found wrapped in burlap type material. This was in the Facebook group. This is the burlap, similar. This is not the actual one that we're talking about. Eerie. Extremely eerie.
From a human standpoint, and please don't read anything into this, but just say the human condition. Okay. I would imagine that kind of heinous behavior, even though that's your thing, it has to swim around in your mind nonstop. And, I could see how that would become a heavy burden. So, yeah, I get that. Yeah. I'm not feeling sorry for him or anything. I'm just saying that's, yeah.
Well, you'd be looking over your shoulder all the time. Not only is he hiding this from his wife and children, but he's also, and I mean, God bless his first wife, because people are trying to dig her up and get her on YouTube and everything.
Leave her alone.
Dodged a bullet. Leave that woman alone. She got rid of him for a reason. I would love to know what broke them up. I have a feeling his kinky disposition had something to do with it. His controlling nature.
Yeah. What else is sad about this is that and this I think is everywhere. When sex workers are murdered or when they disappear, I don't think that police put the proper resources into that. And it just seems wrong to me because, someone has been murdered. It doesn't matter what they did. Nobody knows what circumstances led them. And let's not shame. People do what people do. And, that's that. And so I see that, in cases where it takes a while before, many are, before police get involved. And that's more from public pressure than some, caring or any good place.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. You're exactly right.
You say sex worker and all of a sudden the police are like, next. And I don't get that because, you're being judged even in death.
And he's already pled not guilty. I mean, did we expect him to walk in and just spill the beans? No, of course he's going to plead not guilty. And his attorney did it for him. I don't think he goes back to court until August 23rd.
Well, yeah, I'm sure he wants the trial. That's going to be his glory, right?
Yep. This trial is going to be something else.
Yes.
I mean, when you've got News Nation and Fox News going, can it get any worse? Here comes Krusty going, hold my beer.
Yeah.
I got you. I got you.
Killed by homicide. All had been contacted shortly before their disappearance with a person using a burner cell phone, and the cell phones of 2 of the 4 victims were used by the killer after their deaths. In addition, each of the 4 victims were found similarly positioned, bound in a similar fashion by either belts or tape, with 3 of the victims found wrapped in a burlap type material. Rex A. Huerman is charged with 3 of the 4 deaths. He has 6 charges, first and second degree murder charges for Melissa, Megan, and Amber. There is no charges yet for Maureen, but it's called out that the defendant is not charged, but he's the primary suspect. The investigation is continuing. It's expected to be resolved soon. So I think obviously there's going to be another 2 charges coming here soon. What did they find? What did they find at the time? That's important now. There was a witness to the disappearance of Amber who identified a first-generation Chevrolet Avalanche as the vehicle believed to be have driven by the killer. The killer made calls from Melissa's phone, and we've also found out that there was a lot of hairs left behind. With Megan, there was 2 female hairs and also a male hair.
2 female hairs and also a male hair. Now, safe to say that some of the hair belongs to the victims. And the victims could have had other hair on them because, we're like magnets for hair. You know what I'm saying? We don't know whose hair is on us. We don't know. Imagine if you worked in a beauty salon. There was a woman in California, and she was accused of a crime because she had the victim's hair on her. And she had cut her hair like 3 weeks before. Think about that.
Yeah. And, same with his wife's hair, right? I mean, that's just all part of it too.
Yeah.
There.
Absolutely. This is very significant to me. And again, I love how Navalis put this together. You're never going to see work like this out of me. I'm nothing if I'm not honest. Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, don't come here for breaking news or anything like that. I'm going to give my opinion and we're going to discuss this stuff and what I think, but no overachiever here. My parents never had my daughter's on the honor roll bumper sticker.
All right. That's enough self-deprecation.
Yeah, we're good.
You do a great job. Let's keep that Focus. There we go.
All right. Now, remember, the Chevy Avalanche, we go back to the FBI profiler that said he's going to have an expensive car or truck. Now, this Chevy Avalanche was expensive, and it was seen. That's a big part of
With Amber,
crime.
there was one female hair, and with Maureen, there was another female hair. In January 2022, SCPD, NYPD, and the FBI began a thorough review of this case, and in March 2022, they discovered a first-generation Chevrolet Avalanche registered to Rex. Now, a quick little side note here. I have a sneaky feeling that they also have a tip, what they treat it as a tip from genetic genealogy coming around the same time. Because they seem to get a lot signed off on the back of just discovering that he drove a Chevrolet Avalanche. There was over 300 subpoenas issued. There was a search warrants for loads of things issued.
Now, let's look at this timeline. Okay, 300 subpoenas and search warrants issued for Krusty. We'll go through those in a second. But once that DA took the reins in January of 2022, well, let me tell you what the gas stove was on. Every burner on high. Hang on, Snazzy has breaking news.
What?
White van pulled up to the property of Krusty's in South Carolina. 2 occupants got out, opened the gate, retrieved an item, a leather satchel. The neighbor, they appeared to be FBI or SLED.
This was at his property in South Carolina.
In South Carolina. Uh-huh. Now, I want to know how the IRS didn't seize any of his properties, because he was in deep debt with the IRS. Our boy Krusty didn't pay the fiddler at the end of the year like we're all expected to.
Oh.
I would think
Well,
someone like him would know.
Yeah, that's reckless, right? If you're
Yeah. I'd rather
again,
have
I
the
think it goes.
FBI. Yeah.
It supports your theory that he wanted to be caught. I mean, he's just all over the place with the breaking the law and other things, right? Not paying your
And
taxes.
he made a payment plan and had paid over $250,000 in 2019. And we talked about that on Monday, because I said I would rather have the FBI after me than the IRS. You're not hiding from them.
I think I'd rather have the FBI.
Yeah.
Because if
You have due process with the FBI. You don't have it with the IRS. It's like, pay up, sucker.
it's a lot of money,
records,
man.
travel records.
Records from American Express, which are tender payments.
Mm. Mm.
Swipe left, my ladies.
What do you pay for the membership or what? I didn't think you'd pay till later.
I don't know.
Okay.
To him and his wife. Records from American Express. And on this, there was Tinder payments. This was very important because this opened up the door into Rex's sneaky little world. The Tinder records were linked to a cell phone ending in 1697. So they find from Tinder records this phone number, and they also find an email from Springfield Man 9. Springfield Man 9 AOL account was set up in January 2011 under the name John Springfield with a Queens zip code and a cell phone ending in 2671. Verizon records show that Rex's current cell phone accessed this Springfield Man 9 AOL account for 3 hours in 2022. They started watching Rex, they nabbed him on video surveillance, purchasing minutes for the phone number ending in 2671.
Okay, so they see him going back to the burner phone store, putting more minutes and buying other phones. As Snazzy said, Snazzy should work for the FBI. Snazzy said he recently bought a burner phone and his wife was getting ready to go to Iceland. So as we know, he was itching. He was ready for the next one. He was ready.
So they're tying him to all these accounts now straight away. T-Mobile records show that 2671 was used multiple times in November 2022 to access the Springfield Man 9 AOL account. Numbers 1697 and 2671 were used extensively for the last 2 years for prostitution-related contacts. Google records on the devices indicated that those phones were also on record for another email account, Thomas Hawk, which was linked to 2671. And on this Google
Thomas Hawk.
Thomas Hawk.
Thomas Hawk is a photographer in Manhattan.
Is he famous, well known?
I mean, I just Googled the name real quick.
Oh. It's interesting spelling.
And he works on Fifth Avenue as well.
There's your accomplice, YouTube.
Solving crimes.
Thank you.
Account, a search warrant was issued, and they found thousands of searches related to sex workers, just really like a lot of CP, a lot of nasty stuff. That account was also used to conduct over 200 searches between March 2022 and June 2023. Things like why could law enforcement not trace the calls made by the Long Island killer? Why hasn't the Long Island killer been caught? And I think, to be fair, some of the people who follow this case heavily probably have a similar Google search history, but it's the totality of all the evidence here. He was also Googling family members of the victims, which you wouldn't normally find people doing. He was searching podcasts, documentaries, anything he could get his hands on that would give him some sort of an insight maybe. Further analysis of the AOL account revealed he had a selfie taken and uploaded. Here's a picture. And they also found on this account another linked account. I think he sent emails between each other, and that was a Hunter 1903 account. This was created in February 2021, and guess what? He linked it with number 1697. The IP address of where this account was when they accepted Google's terms and conditions is the same as Rex's home address. The same IP address that accessed official news on the investigations in 2020, and the same IP address that was used to book flights for Rex and his wife in 2018. So they got a lot of info from everything. What evidence do they have? They have Rex's locations matching the locations of the burner phones when the call was made, at least in the general vicinity. I'm not a big fan of this because New York is just so big, there's so many phones. But again, it's just the totality of the evidence here. They nailed him. So they have him in the area where the burner cell phones were used to arrange meetings with 3 of the 4 victims. They have him in the area where the taunting calls were made to a relative. Also important around that is they have the travel documents, and Rex went on a holiday to Iceland, and all phone activity for Melissa stopped for those 8 days when he was on holidays. He gets home and the calls start again. They have him in an area where a call was made by a detective to Melissa's phone. They have him in the same area where the killer was checking voicemails from Maureen's phone. They gave us a lot of lovely little maps, just kind of outlining some of this, how close to his office in New York where these calls were made, and just showing that he was there as well at the same time. That evidence is nothing compared to some of the other stuff that they have him on. In July 2021, they started looking at the female hairs again because DNA techniques have come a long way, and they started doing genome sequencing on them. They were sent to Lab 1, which determined that all the hairs belonged to the same person who was not one of the victims, a white female. In July 2021, SCPD recovered bottles from the trash from Rex's home. These bottles were swabbed and they were sent off for DNA profiling. In February 2023, they concluded that one of the DNA profiles that was taken from the bottles from the trash from Rex's home was a match to one of the female hairs. The following month, in March 2023, they sent it to a second lab to confirm the results, to do independent analysis on it. They compared it with Amberlynn and Megan, the hairs that were found on their bodies. Guess what? It was a match. The female hair found on their bodies came from Rex's wife.
Now, that's a ton of evidence. That is a ton of evidence, and that is just a probable cause. We don't know everything that they have. So for these people saying that Rex was framed, they're out of their damn minds.
Are they already saying that?
Already.
Jeez.
Now, Snazzy sent me this. We have to look at this. A worker came out, okay?
Yeah, I saw that.
Thank you, Snazzy. Snazzy is our own Clarice Starling.
Clarice.
Let's see what she has to say.
First of all, let me believe it was not just, do you know about the Gilgo Beach killer? And I was like, of course, everybody on Long Island does. We're all following that case. And he started saying things that, first of all, let me believe it was not just him. There were other people involved. He is taking the fall, though, I think, for all of them. And I think he will, because I think he'll probably be taken care of out of that deal. So he started saying things in the they, them term.
Now, hang on. She's saying they're going to pin everything on him. Now, I don't expect her to know what's going on in the investigation. She says there's others involved. They did say early on in this investigation, 2010, 2011, 2012, there could be 2 serial killers. I have to hear this again. Hang on.
Well, I think I'm going to make a video today to say I was a former sex worker that was with him and really pump my views.
Glenn, are you a sex worker?
Well, just part-time, but I was with him. So I'm going to make
How
a
much
video.
do you
about
charge, Glenn? We have some single ladies in here.
Sorry, what now?
How much do you charge, Glenn? We have some single ladies.
Oh, I have reasonable rates.
Any layaway or like Rent-A-Center style?
Payment plans galore.
Okay. Kind of like, Kmart used to do. All right. Payment plans?
They'll put this
All
on layaway.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. My video's going to
There were other people involved. He is taking the fall, though, I think, for all of them. And I think he will, because I think he'll probably be taken care of out of that deal. So he started saying things in the they, them term and like trying to make it seem like somebody who's just really interested in the case. But he was very detailed, and it didn't seem like somebody who's just a true crime fan. It seemed like somebody who, as they talked about it, were reliving it in their head.
Okay, this lady said you absolutely need to go to the police. You never know what information can be helpful. She said she dated him 8 years ago. Now, we did hear from the DA about 45 minutes ago where he said he was still.
How do you know who you dated 8 years ago? I don't even know.
I think you would remember him. I mean,
Fair. Yeah, he's a big guy. Yeah. That's
I mean,
fair.
he's like 6'6". I mean, would you forget this?
Absolutely not, honey. No.
When I see you there, my heart surrenders.
Okay, I want to read the article. Ex-escort recounts chilling date with accused Gilgo Beach serial killer. A former escort who had dinner with accused Gilgo Beach serial killer said he got off talking about the victims and spouted out information about some of the cases that was not widely known during a chilling dinner that left her fearing for her life. Nicole, who went out with him 8 years ago to earn money to feed her addiction, claimed in a Tuesday interview with the New York Daily News that he gleefully talked about the murders before trying to pressure her into going to a hotel with him. When he spoke about the murders, it was almost like he was visualizing it in his head and getting off to what he was saying. I bet he was. Brass recounted the eerie conversation from nearly a decade ago. In a separate sit down with ABC's Good Morning America, she said he had a smile on his face and glossed over look in his eyes when talking about the killings, which left her with a really, really bad feeling. Good call, Nicole. My gut was telling me I had to get away from him, she told the network. In 2015, Brass said she was advertising on websites like Backpage and Seeker looking for wealthy men to go out with to earn money for her addiction. At the time, and I'm paraphrasing some of this because there's some things I can't say on YouTube. At the time, I was in my early 20s and I was an addict and I wasn't really thinking about safety, she explained. Brass reportedly said she connected with Krusty through one of those sites, leading to their fateful encounter at the Steam Room seafood restaurant in Port Jefferson. Okay, there she is. The woman said he initially wanted to rent a hotel room for them in Nassau County, but she did not feel comfortable meeting him in private, so she convinced him to take her out to dinner instead. In the beginning, he seemed totally normal. He talked about his job and just seemed really normal until he brought up the murders. According to the former escort, her date, in quotes, first asked if she was a true crime fan. And the two spent a short time talking about other famous serial killers. Whoa.
I think this is does she have a channel? I don't buy it.
I don't know.
I don't
Then he
buy it.
said, have you heard of the Gilgo Beach murders? That's when he got real weird, Brass said, according to the news. The woman claimed he mentioned details about the killings that Brass had not heard despite closely following the investigation. She said, I was following the case and he mentioned one of the girls I hadn't heard about yet. It seemed like he was talking about it from experience and not a point of view. She added that it seemed like the man did not feel at all sorry for the victims and he was excited to discuss the killings. It seemed like somebody who really wanted to brag about what they did but couldn't, she told the paper. As he spoke, Brass said that something about his body language changed. The look in his eyes changed, and it seemed like talking about the victims was enjoyable for him. Probably was. She recalled getting the worst gut feeling about him during their dinner date, which she rushed to bring to a close as quickly as possible because she was scared. He allegedly tried to talk her into leaving her car in the parking lot and riding with him to the hotel room he had booked for them, but she refused. He was like, leave your car, come in mine. She reportedly said he was very adamant about me leaving my car. Looking back, he didn't want to have to kill somebody and get rid of the car. Woo!
Ugh.
God.
But I don't know. I don't know how closely a person in their early 20s that's an addict and working as a sex worker, I don't know how closely they're following cases. Right?
Well, she said she never went to the police with her suspicions about him because she said she did not have any concrete evidence against him. And on top of that, she was on parole for a drug conviction at the time. She said, I'm a felon and had a history, and I didn't want to get involved with the cops. That's why I think a lot of these serial killers pick up women in the sex trade, because they know if things go awry, they're not going to call the police, because then they have to tell them
Right.
how they met and what they were doing. Very sick.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't say I buy her story. It just seems too convenient.
It's
But
very
who knows?
convenient, but I
I
mean,
don't know.
the police is going to have to sort through it. And I
Mhm.
hope they do a knock on the door, or she goes down to the precinct. And
It just has tones of WSU Kim, I guess is what I'll say. That's the vibe I'm getting.
you know what I think? I mean, I am skeptical. Don't get me
Mhm.
wrong. But I try
Yeah.
to get the benefit
And that's
of,
probably the better word. Yeah. I'll use that as well.
I mean, I am skeptical, but I will
Mhm.
say, let's say you're a cab driver and cab drivers are getting killed. You're going to keep up with that. You're going to
Oh,
be
that makes good sense. Yeah.
going to be looking for suspects,
Yeah.
sketches, make sure you don't pick up the wrong person. You're going to
Mhm.
be on a higher alert. So when you're in a business, I'm just going to say like this,
Mhm.
you would definitely be keeping up with it because that's where you work.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sure they spoke amongst themselves. And the fact that someone identified a first generation, whatever vehicle that was, it was pretty impressive.
Absolutely. And nobody is going to walk in or call the police and say, hi, I met this guy on Craigslist because I'm feeding my pill addiction. We had dinner and he gave me the creeps and wanted me to go to a hotel with him. They'd be like, and?
Yeah. Right.
Well,
I think that may be the number one clue that broke this wide open was the fact that they had this this vehicle description rather, and they saw that he had one and other things lined up. But I don't think without that description of the vehicle that they would have. I don't know where we'd be today.
And now, exactly. Thank you again for the super sticker, Snazzy. And thank you, Nani, for gifting the memberships. You guys turn on your gifts. Come check out the members and have a good time with us. Snazzy said, since his arrest, many people have come out talking about how Krusty always talked about these crimes. And not just sex workers, but clients. One woman, he was driving her home. He was her architect or one of them. And he was talking about him. And she got a really weird feeling.
Yeah. Well, we met in a Facebook group, me and this guy, and we were talking about the Yankees, and he told me all kinds of stuff. And wait till you see my video all about it today.
There better be a DoorDash driver in there.
I'm going to put one in there because it's all a lie.
We also have to work on our DNA lab.
Yeah, well, that is an ongoing project.
We got to figure out how to get warrants, CCTV. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff to do to solve these crimes. We got to keep up with the others, Glenn.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna investigate that and do some research and essentially become a lawyer, an investigator, and a judge, and a jury. Today.
Why not? Why not sign up for one of those online classes and just call yourself a forensic scientist? It happens all the time.
I will need that. We'll both need that moniker. Forensic scientist. Okay.
I'll start printing up certificates today. Anybody need a certificate? Anybody?
Yeah, I'll work on business cards.
Okay, business cards and certificates. Name badges too, like Uncle Rico and Napoleon Dynamite. We want to look official, everybody.
That's right. Napoleon.
Damn right. We're not shabby around here. It's class act operation around here. All right, guys, that is all I have got for today. But I need you guys to be back here. I don't know if it's going to be later this afternoon or tomorrow afternoon about Madalena Kojakari, but tomorrow morning we're going to do a deep dive.
Way deep.
Way deep. Because I am furious about what is going on in Savannah, Georgia with the Quentin Simon case. We are going to go back to the beginning. We are going to hear some stuff that you don't want to hear. So I'm giving you guys a warning right now. You may not want to be there because it is horrific and it is horrible. but I hope you can join in and we can get through this together. And then I have a show about Madalena either this afternoon, because I have 190 pages to go through. So it might be tomorrow afternoon, might be this afternoon, depends on how fast I speed read. And Friday morning, some people it's music to their ears, and some people it's painstaking to hear. I have a show that I've been getting ready for a while about summer wells. So we're going to close out the week with a bang, and we actually might have a show with Jewels of All Trade on Saturday morning. I want to thank
my show today too, my video today too about my time with Rex.
Yes, because you met him in a Facebook group.
Yep. Talking about the Yankees.
And he gave you a weird vibe.
Not only that, I mean, he was telling me about the crimes and stuff, and I was going to go to the police, but I thought, well, they'll just say it was Facebook, and so I just let it go. So you can imagine my shock and horror when I saw he was arrested. I feel sick.
Well, NYPD thanks you for your work, Glenn.
Yeah, I need the phone number for the New York Post if anyone can drop it in chat.
I will. I'm going to send it to you. As soon as I get off here, I'm going to email you.
Great.
Everyone needs to know about this. This Facebook stuff is more important than you know.
That's right. That's right.
All right, my friends, I will see you back here tomorrow. I want to thank Snazzy for all the information. I want to thank her for the super stickers. Thank you for the gifted memberships. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being my friend and creating the best chat and best community on YouTube. I will see you guys back here either later this afternoon or tomorrow morning. You pick. I will see you later. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Brooks.